I sit at the kitchen table, the same spot where I've done my homework for 15 years. The wooden surface has lost its shine from countless family plates placed upon it. Mom moves busily in front of the stove. Dad is pouring too much wine. It feels like a celebration. Would you like more mashed potatoes? Mom's voice sounds unnaturally bright. No, I'm fine. Before I can decline, she's already piling a mountain onto Tyler's plate. My brother keeps tapping on his phone. His wife Jennifer is cutting meat into small pieces for 8-year-old Morgan. It's rare to have the whole family together on a Tuesday, Mom says while smoothing her apron. I take a sip of wine to hide the furrow in my brow. A family dinner on a Tuesday night with no special reason. Fine china, Dad's gleaming watch, Mom's pearl earrings. The air feels different than usual, deep in my chest. A sense of dread begins to take shape. The grandfather clock in the hallway ticks louder than usual. Or maybe it's just that everyone else has gone quiet. I notice small things I've never paid attention to before. The way Mom's hand trembles slightly as she serves. How Dad keeps glancing at the envelope beside his plate. Even Morgan seems unusually still, as if the whole house is holding its breath. This isn't a family dinner. It's a stage, and I'm the only one who doesn't know my lines. What awaits her is a trap disguised as family love. If you were in her position, what choice would you make? Please let us know in the comments. My name is Audrey Donovan. I'm 32 years old and work at a pharmaceutical research company. My colleagues often tell me I'm meticulous. They say I can't say no when someone relies on me. This trait has long been used conveniently by my family. But tonight's dinner, for some reason, makes my chest feel uneasy. I can't shake the feeling that something has been orchestrated for this Tuesday night. Dad's fingers make a small sound as he aligns the cutlery. Silver-rimmed plates, polished wine glasses, a tablecloth with crisp iron creases. The table is dressed up like Sunday best, completely out of place for a Tuesday night. Mom stands in front of the stove, gripping pot holders. As steam from the pot bathes her face, she occasionally glances not at me, but at Dad's hands. Only Dad's glass shows a rising red waterline. The words, "That's too much," almost escape my throat, but I swallow them with wine. My brother Tyler has always been my parents' pride and joy. In high school, he was a football star. He was featured in the local newspaper and carried all the family's expectations. Though he struggled with academics, he was the type to get through life with charm and resourcefulness. But since becoming an adult, he's always needed someone's support to maintain that shine. Behind his confident smile, debts and anxiety have been piling up. No one in the family faces this reality. Even after marriage, he kept up this pattern. He got a house in the suburbs. But the mortgage and appearances are two sides of the same coin. I've built stability through steady, unglamorous effort, and he takes it for granted that he can rely on it. Would you like more mashed potatoes? Mom's voice rises an octave. I'm fine. Before I can answer, Mom builds a white hill on Tyler's plate. My brother doesn't stop his thumb from scrolling on his phone screen. Jennifer cuts Morgan's meat into perfect squares. 8-year-old Morgan moves his fork vertically and horizontally, creating orderly roads on his plate. It's wonderful to have everyone together on a weekday Tuesday. Everyone's been so busy lately. Mom smooths the wrinkles in her apron and signals Dad with just her eyes. Mom smiles in front of the stove, but the corners of her smile are slightly strained, like an actress before dropping the curtain on family happiness. That small sense of wrongness pierces my back like a cold needle. I keep my smile at the same angle as I bring the glass to my lips. Tuesday, a gathering without reason, fine china, Dad's retirement watch, Mom's church pearls. Red flags are being raised one after another in my mind. Audrey. After the light sound of a fork hitting the plate, Mom clears her throat. We need to have an important talk about Morgan's future. The air gets colder. I set down my glass. Dad pulls his chair slightly forward. He slides an envelope from the center of the table toward me. A bank logo. Just the feel of the paper makes my body begin to recoil. My hands feel cold despite the warm room. The paper texture is expensive, professional. They've already invested in making this look official. $40,000 in bold print seems to pulse on the page. I can feel my heartbeat in my ears. This isn't a request. It's an ambush dressed in family dinner clothing. The numbers swim slightly as I force myself to keep reading. Every word feels like a small stone being placed on my chest. My name, Morgan's future, joint guarantor, the vocabulary of obligation wrapped in love. The first page has numbers dancing in bold. $40,000. College fund, joint guarantor. This $40,000 is for a fund being created for Tyler's son Morgan's future college expenses. Normally, the parents Tyler and Jennifer should be planning to save for this systematically, but they're stretched thin with living expenses and their mortgage. It seems they're planning to rely on my credit. Yet again, a structure is being set up where I fill in the gaps of my brother's lack of planning. It's just a formality. Tyler finally looks up, turning his phone face down. His voice has a rehearsed tone. The bank just wants to confirm solid credit. They need a signature from someone responsible. A compliment-shaped weight drops heavily into the back of my throat and rattles dryly. The moment my eyes fall to the next page, my stomach reflexively contracts. My name is already printed in the signature field. I haven't even held a pen yet. But on paper, I'm already the responsible party. You just got your bonus, didn't you? Mom reaches for my hand. Her fingertips are warm, but her words are ice cold. Family helps each other. Grandma's words flash through my mind. There's a difference between helping and being used. I may be learning that boundary all over again right now. As I swallow Mom's words, I remember my profession. I'm a research scientist at a pharmaceutical company. I'm someone who only believes truth through data and evidence. I can't move just because we are family. That's how I live. The dining room scene gradually grows distant. The fluorescent lights of the pharmacy return overhead. At 16, I worked part-time at a pharmacy after school. At a small work table, I counted tablets one by one, putting them into bottles. That clicking sound alternately carved out hope for the future and the weight of reality. During my 30-minute break, I'd open textbooks. I'd solve problems aiming for scores that would earn me scholarships. On the morning of the science competition, my parents didn't come, but for Tyler's games, they made matching sweatshirts. I stood on that stage with my poster board about antibiotic resistance. The judges asked questions, and I answered perfectly. When they announced third place, I looked toward the auditorium doors. Just once. Nobody came. That night at dinner, Mom asked how Tyler's game went. I said, I placed third today. Dad passed the salt without looking up. That's nice, honey. Since my teenage years, an invisible line has been drawn between Tyler and me. He had a cheering section. I worked as if chasing my own shadow. On nights when he basked in cheers at games, I tapped the register calculator. The fireworks sounds from the distant stadium were my background music. Mom said, Tyler has potential. About me, she said, you're steady, so you'll be fine. Though they seemed like compliments, the difference always hurt. It took a long time to turn effort into trust. But disappointing them happens in an instant. I already knew that back then. Every time cheers flowed from the radio, something deep in my heart creaked a little. Still, I didn't want to stop my future because of someone else's convenience. The day I held out the white envelope of my acceptance letter, Mom said something. She was sprinkling powdered cheese on Tyler's favorite casserole. That's nice. Can you set the table? 2 months later, 50 people gathered for Tyler's college send-off party. I toasted alone with a cupcake from the bakery. The interest rate isn't bad. Dad's index finger taps the paper, pulling me back to the present. Building a foundation for Morgan is a family duty. My throat tightens. I need time to think. Tyler's jaw jumps. Mom presses a napkin to the corner of her eyes. A perfect gesture I've seen in theater performances. I've made an appointment at the bank for next Thursday. Tyler says, Thursday. That's soon. My voice rises, as if it doesn't belong to me. On the documents on the table, there's a mark written in Dad's neat handwriting. Confirmed. That writing tells me how long they've been planning this. Everyone gathered on Tuesday night, and the bank appointment is set for Thursday. This can't be a coincidence. This family dinner isn't just dinner. It's a quiet siege surrounding my name. Even the steam from the mashed potatoes looks like a curtain of trap. Remember everything we've done for you. Mom's words almost make me laugh. I paid my tuition through scholarships and part-time jobs. I just finished paying off my $60,000 student loan last month. There was no parent's signature on those papers, just my name. As the air at the table grows cold, I remember Grandma's kitchen just once. An old wooden table, a slightly chipped mug, the smell of burnt toast. There, the word family wasn't a chain that bound anyone. It was as light as a morning greeting. After Grandma died, it felt like that air disappeared along with the house. Dad's voice drops low, that tone from nights when I came home past curfew. That's what family is, Audrey. Excuse me. I pull out my chair. The legs scraping against the carpet sound unusually loud in the quiet room. I'm going to the bathroom. With the sound of turning the lock, another lock inside my chest also opens. I grip the edge of the sink and scoop up water to wet my face. Grandma's eyes look at me from the mirror. The person who raised 3 children after Grandpa died. The person who taught me how to straighten my spine when I felt like shrinking. Your life is yours first. On the day Tyler got the bigger room, on the day he chose his new bicycle. Grandma whispered this while handing me a towel as I cried. Grandma had a way of seeing through the family's theater. She never said much at gatherings, but afterward, in her quiet kitchen, she'd make me tea. Your brother is charming, she'd say, stirring honey into the cup. But charm isn't character, and character is what carries you through life. She lived through the Depression, raised 3 kids alone, never asked anyone for anything. On her deathbed, she gripped my hand. Don't let them make you small, Audrey. You were born to take up space. Those words became my spine when mine wanted to bend. My hands tremble slightly as I wipe my face. The stack of papers waits for me on the dining table. The pen tip is about to punch a hole in my financial future. Morgan isn't at fault, but his college fund should originally be something his parents built up over the years. I am not an emergency vault, not a backup oxygen tank, not a convenient backbone. What the family expects is a script where I open the door and return, sign without hesitation, and smile at the bank on Thursday. But the Thursday appointment only exists in their calendar. My answer will be decided on my own schedule. The trembling in my fingers slowly subsides. I fold a towel, unlock the door, and return to the dining room. In the few steps it takes to reach my seat, years of memories drop away from the soles of my shoes, becoming lighter. Don't rush to a conclusion. I'll take the papers with me. As I say this quietly, Dad's brow furrows. Mom's napkin touches her eyes once more. Tyler swallows a clicking sound of disapproval. Next Thursday at 10. The loan officer is waiting. I'll contact you after I review it. I cut off the reply short. I reclaim the lead of the conversation, just a little bit. That night, while helping with the dishes, I bought time with vague words. Under consideration. The timing isn't good. I want to confirm the terms. Mom nods along. Dad checks his watch. Tyler returns to his phone. The sound of water droplets from dishes being absorbed into cloth closes the final act of this predetermined harmony. It is a sound like clappers, bringing the performance to a close. On the drive home, I pull the car to the shoulder and turn off the headlights. In the darkness, my heartbeat is so precise I can count it myself. I pull an old notepad from the glove box and trace the inside of the cover with my thumb. My former self recorded things in small letters in the margins of pages. Records from when I didn't know how to give voice to unfairness, when only paper was my ally. Tyler's new computer, my clothes for the new semester, science competitions and practice games. The folded corners of pages are marks of painful days. When I start the engine, news flows from the radio. The content doesn't enter my head. The traffic light turns green. As I press the accelerator, I place Grandma's words softly inside my chest. Your life is yours first. I unlock my apartment door, take off my shoes, and check tomorrow's schedule. On my desk is my company laptop. Notifications are quietly sleeping. When I open the screen, I catch a glimpse of the benefits portal login history. Columns of times and locations are neatly arranged. Next to this evening's time, an unfamiliar string of numbers. Something in my head grows cold. My heart understands before my fingers catch up. A time slightly before tonight's dinner, before that stack of papers appeared on the table. Someone looked at my bonus information. Someone who wasn't me. I pushed back my hand that was about to close the screen and take a deep breath. The time it took for surprise to turn into anger, and anger to turn into outlined determination, was short. With that cold feeling still in my chest, I pick up my phone. I call Sandra in accounting. Sorry to call so late. This is Audrey Donovan. Just one quick confirmation. Is Carol Moore's daughter still in IT? Laura? Yes, she is. Is something wrong? Thank you, that helps. When I hang up, all the dots connect into a line. Mom's close friend Carol. Her daughter Laura works in IT security. Mom is in frequent contact with her. That's the source of information. When I open the laptop statement, I see the amount deposited on Friday, $15,200. Exactly the same number Mom mentioned today. It's too convenient to be coincidence. I pour the cold tea left in my cup into the sink. My family had been peeking into my account. The moment I thought that, a chill ran down my spine. I pull out my chair, open my calendar, and trace Thursday at 10 with my finger. Erasing the appointment text is easy, but erasing it isn't enough. I need a new appointment, an appointment that belongs to my side. The kettle makes a small sound in the kitchen. I pour hot water into a cup and add a little milk. Beyond the steam, Grandma's handwriting comes back to life. A letter I received on my college graduation day. Neat writing on yellowed paper. Your life is yours first. Love doesn't begin with sharing wallets, but with respecting boundaries. I read just that passage silently and held the cup with both hands. Temperature transfers to my palms. Pulse and temperature align. Calm returns. Before turning off the bedroom light, I place an envelope and ballpoint pen at the edge of my desk. I'm stopping living inside someone else's plan, returning myself to my own plan. Outside the fence called Thursday, the door was there from the beginning. I just hadn't been looking. I've always tried to be a good daughter, never refusing what I was asked, showing no emotion, quietly meeting expectations. But tonight, I thought for the first time, being a good daughter is not necessarily being a right daughter. The words Grandma left behind bubble up from the bottom of my heart. Your life is yours first. Even without saying it aloud, that sentence makes a sound inside me. My eyes adjust to the darkness. The shadows on the ceiling slowly change shape. I pronounce the words just once in my mind. No, a two-syllable answer that changes the air in the room. It opens a window in my chest. Once the answer is decided, sleep is surprisingly close. Tomorrow morning, I'll start cutting from the first thread, not the net woven by family, but the thread that leads to my future. I hardly slept that night. I remember Grandma's voice on the bed. Your life is yours first. Grandma's voice was quiet, but now it rings like an alarm bell. The next day, during lunch break, as I pick at a cold sandwich at my desk, my phone vibrates. Tyler's name. I hesitate whether to answer, but I feel like staying silent won't end this. Audrey, Mom's crying. If you just sign, everything will be smooth. I'm not signing. Family helps each other, right? Grandma would be sad if she saw this. Don't bring up Grandma's name. She said, stand on your own feet. It's for Morgan's future. Dad and them have low scores because of their pension. And we have loans. So I'm the family's insurance policy. You're being dramatic. Dad said your attitude is an embarrassment to the family. At work, Martha offers a paper cup of coffee. You look like you haven't slept. A little family stuff. Your brother called the reception this morning. Said it was a family emergency. My hand stops involuntarily. He really said that? Yes. But I told him you were in a meeting. Martha smiles slightly. My sister did something similar. When we fought over Dad's estate. People who use family as a shield think your sacrifice is natural. Thank you. The person who can draw a line is the one who can protect themselves in the end. In the afternoon, I received a message from my best friend Rebecca. Want to grab dinner tonight? Let's have a change of pace. Before I can reply, another call from Tyler. When I ignore it, an email arrives from Janet in HR. Someone claiming to be your relative inquired about your work status. Are you okay? More disbelief than anger, even at work. By Wednesday, I found out Tyler called my department head, claimed I was having a mental health crisis and needed family intervention. My boss pulls me aside with genuine concern in her eyes. I have to explain, in professional language, that my family is manipulating me. The embarrassment is suffocating. That evening, I found a voicemail from the building manager. Someone claiming to be my father asked about my lease end date. They're not just pressuring me, they're cornering me. That evening, Mom calls. "You're going to the bank next Thursday, right?" "No, I'm not." "Audrey Catherine Donovan, your father is heartbroken." I quietly hang up. My reflection appears on the phone screen, not a face of fear, but of determination. At night, as I lie unable to sleep and stare at the ceiling, an email notification lights up. Internal job posting. Research position at new San Francisco lab. A message from Martha is attached. "Did you see it? You'd be perfect." The light from the screen slowly illuminates the dark room. I take a deep breath and open the application form. My finger hovers over the submit button. This isn't just a job application. It's a declaration of independence at 32 years old. Most people do this at 18, moving away for college. I did it with scholarships and loans, but I never truly left. The invisible threads kept pulling me back. Phone calls about emergencies, guilt about missing holidays, the steady expectation that my stability existed to catch their falls. This button is a pair of scissors. Once I press it, some threads can never be retied. I press submit. I attach my resume and click send. Next Thursday at 10 a.m., while my family waits at the bank. I'll be signing a different contract. At church over the weekend, Uncle Robert grabs my shoulder. Aunt Sharon nods beside him. "Your mother is worried." Poor Morgan. Pastor Williams says last. God puts family first. I smile and nod. If God would sign family loans, that would be a different story. After the service, 3 more church members approach me. Mrs. Patterson, who taught my Sunday school. Mr. Chen, who gave Tyler his first job. Even young couples I barely know seem to have opinions about my family situation. The whispers have spread through the congregation like wildfire. My mother has been thorough. In this community, I'm already convicted. The trial was held in living rooms over coffee. I wasn't invited to defend myself. Monday morning, there's a white envelope in my mailbox. No return address. Inside, just one line. "Ungrateful daughters burn in hell." I can't help but laugh. It's more ridiculous than frightening. Tuesday, Dad appears at the company reception. I need to talk to my daughter. It's a family emergency. I go out to the lobby and say, "This isn't the place to talk about this. This Thursday at 10. The loan officer is waiting. Dad's voice is the same as always. The sound of a command. Thursday morning began under cloudy skies. My face reflected in the commuter bus window is quieter than last night. In the family's schedule, today at 10, a bank signing is built in, but my schedule has a different appointment. I opened the email that arrived from the San Francisco branch hiring manager. Online interview at 2 p.m. Every time I calculate the time difference and confirm the time, the tension in my chest gradually loosens. Thursday at 10. While they wait at the bank, I'll be interviewing for a future move forward. When I arrive at my desk, Martha waves. "Is your preparation going well?" "Yes. There are various things I want to settle." She gives a meaningful smile. "Your things to settle will surely lead to something wonderful." 10 a.m. Dad must be sitting next to Tyler at the bank, checking his watch. Mom is probably clutching a handkerchief, showing tears to those around her. Jennifer is repeating Morgan's name, creating an emotional shield, and I was in a different time than any of them. Through the laptop camera, the interviewer smiles. "You're Audrey Donovan. I've reviewed your experience in the research department." The voice is gentle. "Yes, I'm currently working at the Boston lab, but I'd like to take on challenges in a new environment." Across the screen, the interviewer nods. Questions continue, and with each answer, it's as if heavy chains are being removed from my mind one by one. When the interview ends, Martha peeks at my desk. "How did it go?" "I think it went well." "Good. Then we'll toast with cider tonight." I finally managed a small smile back at her. Around that time, Tyler must be gripping his phone in the bank lobby, glaring at the screen. Mom is probably tearing up trying to explain the situation to those around her. Dad stares at his watch in silence. The family plan they created is quietly beginning to crumble. At 3 p.m., an official email arrives from San Francisco. Hiring decision. The start date is next Wednesday. A light ignites deep inside me. That evening, I call Rebecca. Please, can you store some of my things for a while? Of course. Where are you going? West Coast. After a moment of silence, Rebecca's voice becomes excited. You're finally going. The next day, Friday evening, the sound of closing cardboard boxes with tape echoes through the room. I carefully wrap Grandma's teacup in the newspaper. Watch over me, Grandma. I whisper softly. I feel like Grandma's voice answers from deep in my chest. Your life is yours first. Over the weekend, the official transfer order arrives by email. I print out the notification and head to my supervisor, Martha, to process the necessary procedures. It's decided. Yes, I leave next Wednesday. Martha smiles as she signs the documents. San Francisco branch. I think it's perfect for you. Thank you. I'll have the handover materials ready by today. Is the family matter okay now? Yes. Taking distance is probably the best solution. She nods. I think that choice is right. Distance is sometimes the greatest defense. Monday. I transfer my bank account procedures to the West Coast branch. I submit a mail forwarding application and stop all utilities to my home. When I make the final payment on the student loan I've been paying for years, something quietly ends in my chest. At night, I toast alone with a paper cup of cider. Bitterness and sweetness mix, and all the years pass over my tongue. Tuesday, as I organize my desk at work, an envelope comes out, yellowed stationery with Grandma's writing. The letter I got on my college graduation day. Your life is yours first. Love doesn't begin with sharing wallets, but with respecting heart boundaries. Tears stream down my cheeks. I put that letter in the inner pocket of my suitcase. The night before departure, one last message arrives from Mom. Go to the bank tomorrow. Don't shame the family. I don't reply. Instead, I put a letter and a check in an envelope, $500 in Morgan's name. I just write, as a gift, not an obligation. Wednesday morning, I head to the airport. Through the taxi window, Boston streets fade into the distance. The new light visible beyond the sky feels like someone's blessing. At the airport terminal, I finally turned off my phone. My backpack feels light. My steps toward the gate are more certain than ever before. When the plane takes off, light shines through gaps in the clouds. The anger and criticism of anyone on the ground can't reach above the clouds. As I gaze at the view spreading outside the window, I smile, feeling that the control stick of my own life is now firmly in my own hands. The flight attendant offers drinks. I ask for ginger ale, something I never drink. It feels like a small act of rebellion. Choosing something just because I want it, not because it's practical. The bubbles sting my throat in a pleasant way. Outside, clouds stretch endlessly. At 35,000 feet, family obligations don't exist. Guilt doesn't have wings. The woman next to me is reading a novel. The man across the aisle is sleeping peacefully. They're just living their lives. And for the first time in years, so am I. Just living. Just breathing. Just being Audrey. Tuesday night, I was doing a final check of my luggage in Rebecca's garage. Cardboard labels are marked with a magic marker. Documents. Memories. Fragile. Inside the boxes, Grandma's teacup, medals from college, and Grandma's letter are carefully stored. You're really going. Rebecca sighs. Yes, I might not come back. I'm proud of you. I smile at her words as I stack the boxes one by one. Night wind blows through the gaps in the garage. My phone is off. I won't receive contact from my family. That silence finally feels like my own room. Wednesday morning, through the taxi window heading to the airport, Boston streets gradually fade away. The familiar intersection, the company building, the church where Grandma sleeps. I watch those things reflected in the car window all becoming past tense and accepted. At the check-in counter, the attendant smiles. San Francisco? For work? Yes. It's a transfer. The moment I say those words, it finally settles in my chest as reality. Before going through the boarding gate, I turn on my phone just for a moment. There are over 30 unread messages. Mom, Dad, Tyler. Where are you? Waiting at the bank. Traitor. Reported to police. I open one of them. Mom's last message. You're no longer my daughter. I breathe in and close the screen. Even if I'm not forgiven by someone, I have the right to live for myself. I'm reclaiming that today. When I take my seat on the plane, an elderly man sitting next to me speaks. Business trip? No, a transfer. That's nice. A fresh start in a new place. At those words, a smile escapes me. The plane starts down the runway and lifts into the sky. The moment we break through the clouds, I exhale the breath that had been held deep in my chest. As Boston fades away, the weights on my shoulders drop off one by one. Outside the window is a silver sea. Light flows over the clouds. Grandma's words float into my heart. Your life is yours first. The courage to choose that is what protects you. When I land at San Francisco International Airport, I smell the sea breeze. Air mixed with salt and light that I've never smelled in the eastern city. I exit the arrival lobby and get into a taxi. To the hotel, please. The car glides out, and the scenery of a new city spreads outside the window. Blue ocean visible between high-rise buildings. It's as if the future itself is shimmering like a heat haze. The taxi driver is playing jazz, something with a saxophone that sounds like liquid gold. First time in San Francisco? He asks. Yes. New job. Good for you. This city has a way of letting people start over. I don't tell him how much I need those words. The bay comes into view, and the light hits the water like scattered diamonds. In Boston, the harbor was gray and industrial. Here, everything seems to glow. We pass a playground where children speak 3 different languages, a bookstore with rainbow flags, a woman walking 7 dogs at once. The diversity feels like permission to be whoever I'm becoming, not who I was assigned to be. When I enter the hotel room, I place my suitcase on the bed. I open the curtains and let the light flood into the room. The white light reflecting on the walls spreads as if confirming my determination. I open the notebook on the desk and write just one sentence on the first page. I am free. In the evening, a welcome email arrives from the San Francisco branch. My first day is next Monday. In the brief greeting, it says, "We'd like you to participate as a key member of a new research project." I smile quietly. This email is proof of my fresh start. Before dinner, I open my phone and see one unread message. The sender is Martha. HR got an inquiry. Your family wants to know where you were transferred. I type a short reply. No need to tell them. They're no longer involved in my plans. When I press send, something quietly ends deep in my chest. My name no longer exists in Dad's family schedule, but in my calendar, there's a blank space called the future. Night. When I step out onto the hotel's small balcony, the city lights twinkle like waves. My phone is turned off again. No one can find me. Just beyond the distant night sky, something has definitely ended and something has begun. Standing on that boundary line, I quietly breathe in. Good night, Grandma. I whisper toward the sky. I feel like she's smiling somewhere, and I smile too. The air for tomorrow feels a little sweeter. Friday morning, I wake up to the bright light through the curtains. Outside the hotel window, the city of San Francisco is already in motion. The sound of tram bells, laughter from a distant cafe. It's an unfamiliar city, yet there's a strange sense of security deep in my chest. I shower, make coffee, and open my laptop. There are mountains of unread emails, but I only open work-related ones. Welcome messages from colleagues in the research department, materials from my new supervisor at the transfer location. All of them are concise and sincere. No one knows about my family situation. Here, I can live simply as research scientist Audrey Donovan. Still, one unread folder catches my eye. A group of emails with only family in the subject line. The count exceeds 20. Without opening them, I drag them to the trash and delete them. I'm surprised at how light the action feels. Cutting off the past isn't anger or revenge. It's just choice. I spent the morning walking around the city. Every time I climb a hill, the smell of the tide gradually gets stronger. I sit on a bench at the harbor, letting the wind blow through my hair as I gaze at the city. A ship's whistle sounds in the distance. Every time I hear that sound, I realize the world doesn't stop even when something ends. I breathe in and slowly exhale. In the afternoon, the formal contract arrives from the branch HR manager. I enter my electronic signature and press the send button. At that moment, there's a small sound somewhere in my heart, the sound of starting from here. The send completion notification appears on the screen, and I take a deep breath. In the evening, while drinking a latte at a city cafe, I open my notebook. I read Grandma's letter again. Love doesn't begin with sharing wallets, but with respecting heart boundaries. I trace that sentence with my fingertip and write small in the margin of the page. And freedom comes more quietly than fear. When I leave the cafe, the sunset is painting the city gold. Across the sidewalk, a child is flying a kite. The fabric receiving wind high in the sky looks like it's pointing to a new future. I smile and take my phone out of my pocket. 0 notifications on the screen. That quietness feels more luxurious than anything. When I return to the hotel, I take out the letter from my suitcase. A farewell letter addressed to my parents. Inside the envelope is a $500 check and a single note for Morgan's future, as a gift, not an obligation. I reconfirmed it and put the envelope to be mailed back in my bag. Night. Outside the window, the city twinkles with countless lights. On the desk is Grandma's teacup and warm herbal tea. Listening to the distant sound of waves, I can finally say to myself, betraying someone's expectations is far less painful than betraying myself. So I chose myself. I open a new page in the notebook and write a sentence. I am free, and I won't let anyone take that away anymore. Under those words, I slowly write the date. When I close the page, my heart quietly fills. Sunday afternoon, I met with the real estate agent I had an appointment with. I completed the contract for a small apartment in the city, the room I found online on Friday, viewed on Saturday, and fell in love with. A studio with a view of the ocean from the window. It's old, but gets good light. You start work Monday, right? Feel free to move furniture anytime. Thank you. I received the key with both hands. The cold metal texture leaves weight in my palms. This is proof of my new life. When I open the front door, the air of the still empty room flows in. White walls, wooden floors, a slightly old but comforting smell. In the empty space, I feel my future quietly breathing into existence. How far would you comply with the words, because we are family? If, like April, you were forced to make the decision to leave to protect yourself, what would you choose?